The demonstrators in the red zone area remain highly organized, well-funded, extremely committed to resisting all attempts to end the demonstration safely. This remains, as it was from the beginning, an increasingly volatile and increasingly dangerous demonstration.
Ottawa has declared a state of emergency. Police are parading in riot gear. Laws are being broken. Protesters are being arrested. Could people in Ottawa get badly hurt or killed? They could. I'm Warren Kinsella for Sun Media. Thanks for tuning in. Years ago, I literally worked in the Ottawa Police Headquarters at Elgin Street. I was the Ottawa Citizens police reporter, and I had an office right in there. And I got to know a lot of the cops and a bit about how they think. Now, they're some of the best cops in the country for dealing with protests because Ottawa gets a lot of protests. And they know how to prepare, too. But they didn't prepare for thousands of militant truckers arriving 2 weeks ago and shutting down Ottawa. And blame for that mainly goes to the police chief. He's been a total disaster. Police in Ottawa are getting fed up, they're getting mad, and so are the people. So what happens if, as many otherwise peace-loving Ottawa residents want, the cops start swinging batons and cracking heads? Here's a few points to consider, mainly drawn from the recent post-riot, post-occupation experience of American police forces. The Americans say that the key thing is preparation, preparation, preparation by police, by government, and they just didn't do that in Ottawa. Preparation isn't something, it's everything. The key is always to have police tactical plans well thought out and well before the protest starts. And Ottawa didn't do that. They didn't plan. Training exercises help cops, and they help protect people too. Those exercising their constitutional rights, those who live in the protest zone, and the officers themselves. Lots of U.S. studies show us that a lack of planning and preparation causes the police to be more reactive. And being reactive leads to escalation, and escalation is bad. Escalation by police usually leads to more confrontation and violence. It just does. Putting police in military-style gear is usually how escalation happens. That's militarization, dressing them up like combat troops or combat weapons. And it's a big mistake because otherwise peaceful protesters are put on edge and become more combative. De-escalation is safer. The police response needs to be proportional too. That means police need to tailor their response to the actions and the mood of the crowd. They should always try to avoid increasing tensions by using more gear and equipment than necessary. The British police have found that mixing with rowdy soccer fans in non-military attire works well. But that's not all. Police agents need to always clearly communicate the thresholds for arrest.
We're deploying a surge of police officers in the downtown and the immediate neighborhoods. This surge will deliver a clear message to the demonstrators. The lawlessness must end.
They need to give warnings to demonstrators when they're breaking the law and about to be arrested. And arrest, of course, should only happen when there's probable cause. That's the law. I've covered lots and lots of protests, and I can tell you that a protest is not a riot, but neither is an occupation a simple protest. And Ottawa is now an occupation. The Occupy movement, which happened a few years ago, and which I wrote this book about, showed the need for different police tactics in occupation situations. Behavior of occupiers is almost always determined by how they're treated by the police. Police need to meet with the protest leadership regularly, listen, empathize, take down the temperature however and whenever possible. Now, because demonstrations may be spontaneous and groups may not have identified leaders, cops should use social media for outreach and communication. Has Ottawa done that? Sure doesn't look like it. Finally, it's obvious that some protesters believe that violence is morally defensible. Those people need to be quickly identified and detained and prosecuted. And at the same time, reaching out to the majority of protesters who are always nervous about confrontation violence, that's essential. Police need to keep those people from siding with the radicals. Police often treat all protesters the same, but they just shouldn't. They should be trained to differentiate between peaceful protesters and violent troublemakers. Ottawa's at a crossroads. More chaos and bloody violence is one road. The other road is de-escalation and a peaceful end to an illegal occupation. That's not a consideration for the police, but it is for the civilians who oversee them. Leaders need to step up here more than they have. Leaders like Justin Trudeau They can meet with protest leaders, and they should. It won't resolve everything, but it'll give protesters the feeling they've achieved something, and it may speed up their departure. It may lead to a peaceful conclusion. Ottawa needs that now. I'm Warren Kinsella for Sun Media. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure to follow us on all your favorite platforms.